Hello and welcome to the WriteCome.com podcast, where we help you to make money from your words. Each episode will be sharing tips, tricks, and strategies you can use to make more money from your writing, publishing, and marketing to your fans and audience. Let's get started with your host, Barry J. McDonald.
Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's podcast episode from WriteCome.com. And today's podcast episode is entitled, Be Someone Worth Following. Now, as I do from time to time, I do hang out on the platform or the website Quora, that's Quora, and like Yahoo Answers, it's a kind of question and answer platform in that people will come and ask questions and then you'll have people who will answer those. So if you do have any questions and if you do hang out on Quora, feel free to hit me up, and if you do send me a question, just make a mention that you are a podcast listener and I will give it more importance than some of the other questions I do get asked over there. Or if you'd like me to cover anything in this podcast, if you'd like me to answer any of your questions over here, again, feel free to send an email to barryjmcdonald@gmail.com, and again, just put in the subject line that maybe you're podcast listeners, just so I will know where you've come from and I'll know where to answer the question. Now, on Quora, I have seen this past couple of days, I have seen people asking these types of questions. How can I build a huge following on social media? How can I build a huge audience? How can I get more readers? How can I get this? And everybody is looking for this huge platform that they can either monetize, that they can control, that they can direct in any way. But what I found is that, for a lot of those people, they are looking at it from the wrong kind of point of view, in that they are looking at it from their own selfish point of view. They are looking for what they can get out of those people. How can I build a huge email list, and how can I get them to buy my products, and how can I get them to do that? And unfortunately, you can't make anyone do anything that they don't want to do, unless you put a gun or something to their head, or maybe you've got a baseball bat or whatever. Then certainly you probably can control the actions that someone's taken. But online, you can't do that. You can't force somebody to follow you along. You can't force somebody to buy your book. You can't force somebody to do something that they aren't willing to do. And a lot of those people, as I said, are coming at that question from the wrong point of view. They are looking from their own selfish means. They are looking, what's in it for me? What can I make from this audience? How can I monetize it? But for you to build a huge following, for you to build a huge audience, for you to build a huge email list, you're going to have to look at it from the other point of view. You're going to have to look at it from the person who is on social media, the person who is about to give up their email address, the person who is looking for help. You have to put yourself in their point of view. What would make them want to follow you? When you think about it, people are giving up portions of their life to follow someone on social media, either to read their content or watch the videos on YouTube or Facebook or follow them on Instagram or whatever. They are giving up a portion of their lives to follow along with that person. And that is a big deal. Now, I know some people are willing to throw away hours of their life, doing the kind of most mundane things and just simply scrolling through Facebook or whatever because they have no kind of aim or no direction in their life. So some people are willing to give away huge portions of their life to social media. But if you think about it for a moment, if you wanted somebody to follow you today, that means that they have to give up maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes of their time today to watch your video, to listen to your podcast episode, to read through your content, to watch all your videos on Instagram, to like all your images or whatever. But they are giving up a portion of their life. And when you think about it from that point of view, it does, it'll probably make you think much more of, what would make that type of person give up a portion of their life to follow me. And if you think about it that way, you will probably be, a lot more kind of serious in the content that you do. Because, what I found over this past couple of days is something that I have tried out on Twitter, in that for the longest time I had a tiny following on Twitter. Now, you are talking 20 subscribers or 20 followers on Twitter, and that has been going on for last 6 months, a year, or maybe more. And of course, like everybody else, I want to get a huge following on Twitter. I want more people to join my audience. But I was actually looking for my own kind of selfish point of view, in that a lot of the content I was putting on Twitter and that I've always put on Twitter is all been kind of automated content, in that I have a WordPress plugin that every so often it will promote some old post, it'll pick it up and it'll send it back over to Twitter, and it'll put a link of maybe the blog post title and then the link back to my blog. And I have been doing that regularly. And when you think about it for a moment, all that content is going on Twitter, but it's coming from my selfish point of view. I am throwing out that content there, and I'm putting it in front of that audience, and I'm saying, here, click on this link, visit my blog, visit my blog, visit my blog. And it's me kind of selfishly looking for people to give up their time, to spend time on my blog, but I'm looking at it from my point of view. And yesterday I tried out something which it's probably something I will be spending a lot more time on, in that I started giving up more of my time on Twitter. Now, somebody had asked me a question yesterday. I had just been going through the writer hashtag just to see what content was coming up, or was anybody asking questions that maybe I could help them out with. And somebody had asked, they were interested in setting up a podcast. How could they do it? What was the beginner steps they would need to know? And I had reached out to that person, and I had given them as much good advice as I would give them here in a podcast episode, or anybody who came to me coaching. I just freely gave of the knowledge I have. I told them how to go over to Anchor. I told them to download the app. I told them how to record the podcast episodes. I told them how to maybe extend the reach of that podcast when they got it up and got it running. Now, this person was really, really grateful to me, but I found a strange thing actually happen. Because I gave to that person, a lot of people were actually looking at that thread and were actually reading the content that was going on, the information I was giving out, and all of a sudden I found, I think it was 10 or maybe 12 people had followed me yesterday on Twitter. Now, I had done nothing. I hadn't gone looking for followers. I hadn't, asked anybody to follow me at all. I hadn't done anything that I would normally do. And the only thing I did differently yesterday was simply I had reached out and I'd helped somebody. I had no monetary thing. I never said, oh, you buy my podcast course, buy this. I just freely gave of my time, and whatever knowledge I have, I freely gave it to that person. And because of that, then I got 13 people who had, joined up to me on Twitter. So I want you to just think about that for a moment. Unfortunately, as I said, a lot of us come to social media selfishly. We're all looking for what's in it for me. Read my article, read my blog post, do this for me, join my following, buy my book, promote my book, and it's all selfishly coming from your side. But when you start actually looking at things from the other person's side, when you start freely giving of your time, you will actually find that it'll start to come back to you. So if you are trying to build a huge following today, if you are trying to get more followers on Instagram, or more readers, or more email people, or whatever on your list or whatever, think about it from their point of view. What would make them want to give up a portion of their life to follow you? And when you do kind of think about it that way, you will probably be more giving of your time. You'll probably give a lot more of your knowledge and stuff, sometimes over for free, but it will come back to you. You will find those people will say, this is the type of person I should be following. This is the type of person I should be listening to. This is the type of person's email list that I should be on, because I can see how much content they give away. I can see they're not the kind of selfish person who is constantly asking me to buy their product, or constantly asking me to read this blog post, or constantly asking me to do this. They have reached out to me. They have helped me. And you will see, as I said, other people will be kind of standing on the sidelines and will be watching what you're doing, and will, if they see that you are doing a good job, if you are worth following, those other people will start to trickle in from the sidelines and will actually join your audience. So I don't know what my followers are going to be like on Twitter, but I've just decided to do that over the next couple of days, is look up a particular type of hashtag. Again, it depends what particular hashtag is related to your business, but just put it into Twitter today and see what type of questions come up. See who is looking for help, who's looking for a retweet, who's looking for an answer to a question, who is looking for a promotion, and just give it freely. Don't think, how can I get this back in some way? How can I retweet this now and then I can get back to them next week and say, something, I retweeted your book last week, now it's your time to repay me. Just freely give of your knowledge, your time, for an hour or so on Twitter or whatever platform you're on, and answer the questions, but be somebody worth following, and you will start to see those numbers will start growing. Your following will start growing, because you are the type of person that people will like to follow, because you're not selfishly looking out for yourself. You're not looking to monetize them in any way. Now, in the future, certainly, if you have a new book, you can certainly promote it to that huge following, whatever. But for right now, just reach out, help people, and be someone worth following. And again, too, just as a side note, I really, really appreciate you giving up your time today to listen to this podcast. Again, 10 minutes, 11 minutes, however long this podcast episode is. I really, really appreciate that you have taken this portion of your life and you've given it up to me and you have listened to this podcast. And I hope that I am repaying your time, and I hope that you are getting value from this podcast. And if you know anybody else who would really, really appreciate it, if you do see a couple of social media buttons nearby, certainly click them and share them with your list or your followers. That would be greatly appreciated. Or if you'd like to subscribe to the podcast, I'll click on whatever link is in your device, and I will send on the next couple of episodes to you so you don't miss any of this content. And as always, thanks for sharing your time again today. Take care and have a great day. Bye bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you'd like more from the rightcome.com podcast, be sure to subscribe now for more tips, tricks, and ideas you can use to make more money from your words. See you in the next episode.